Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
This is Jer Stays.
And I'm Sven Gustafson.
And you're listening to the Daily Detroit podcast recorded in a new location.
That's right, friends. For today's show, we're recording in the well-appointed podcast studio at WeWork, the co-working space in downtown Detroit. It's December 20th.
We are fast approaching the end of the year, so we're going to devote some of our final episodes of 2018 to looking back. Today, we're talking with Daily Detroit's man about town, Devon O'Reilly, about some of his favorite bars and restaurants that opened the past year. That's coming up right after this. Daily Detroit is brought to you in part by our friends at Milo Digital. Milo Digital is a full-service digital marketing agency that engineers quality results through data and innovative strategies.
Learn more at milodetroit.com. As Jer mentioned, Devon O'Reilly is Daily Detroit's man about town. He goes out and experiences new and exciting things so that Jer and I don't have to, right, Jer?
Well, my liver thanks Devon, but I do enjoy to get out, absolutely. But my liver thanks Devon.
Devon's here in the studio with us right now at WeWork. Devon, how are you, man? Good to see you.
It's great to be here. I always appreciate hearing my title, officially for Daily Detroit, as Man About Town. I hope to be able to carry that mantle for you guys. But
it's a feather in your cap. Maybe someday, literally, maybe we will get you a feather with a cap that says Daily Detroit, Man About Town.
And I think a pin would look really cool.
Like
with
a
our
lapel
shield on it.
pin,
Lapel
yes.
pin.
I'd walk around with a pin, not so much the feather.
We gotta get some blazers with like the Daily Detroit crest on the breast and like the patches on the elbows.
See, I was going to go for the pin because the patches make me think of worldwide sports, like back in the day with like ABC Sports and like the.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah,
I wear a lot of blazers. This could work, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
So Devon, man, I haven't seen you since a couple weeks ago in Los Angeles for the auto show. I had no idea you were even going to be there. We ran into each other on the show floor, the show floor, the convention center there, and turns out you and I both stayed in the same place.
Yes, as we colloquially refer to it, the Mini Rensen, which is another John Portman designed building.
The Westin Bonaventure.
The Westin Bonaventure downtown. Downtown LA was awesome. I think, it's one of those, I've been plenty of times to all other parts of Los Angeles, but downtown is so much different than the rest of LA. Much, it's more walkable. The big knock against LA.
That's the best part about staying downtown LA is you can be in LA and you can skip the whole worst part about Los Angeles, which is cars and being slave to, having to drive places because you don't have to drive anywhere. It's great.
You walk around, explore bars. It reminds me of my old 2013 Detroit days where you could just kind of wander around the city and find new bars and restaurants. But nowadays, every new opening is like a new popular thing. So there's not as many secret bars.
Right. So for our listeners who are curious, I wrote a blog post all about the Westin Bonaventure, the little brother, as I called it, to the Rensen. What'd you think, Devon, of the Bonaventure?
I thought it was awesome. There was a familiarity to it, a confusing familiarity, because I've been confused at the Rensen many times, and I was less confused at the Bonaventure because it's a little bit smaller. Now, one thing to mention is their restaurant at the top still spins and exists.
Oh, really? I read that. I did not. Did you go up there?
Oh, once I heard there was a spinning restaurant at the top of the hotel, I was there in a heartbeat.
See, I didn't know about it until I wrote that story, and
it was pretty quiet up there. You know what? I had the place almost to myself.
Sat
back. Well, I had a Manhattan or two.
Okay, cool.
Looked out into the expanse of Los Angeles urban sprawl.
I got to give the Bonaventure props for their breakfast buffet. Did you partake?
I did, yes.
Yeah, with the miso soup and the congee soup and all the kimchi and all those pickled vegetables. That was pretty cool.
It was great. The hotel bar was really cool. Hotel bars are great. I mean, that's just kind of a side note thing. I love hotel bars because there's always people to talk to, interesting people. Everyone's got their own story why they're there. The bartenders are usually friendly because they see all sorts of different kinds of people. So it was great.
All right, man. Well, enough about LA. We are here to talk about the year in bar and restaurant openings in Detroit. And it was a big year for that here in Detroit, wouldn't you say?
I think so. I mean, the momentum is here. Every year now is becoming kind of bigger and better than the next as far as new openings, hot spots, places to go. And this year there was certainly no shortage.
Yeah. All right. So you've kind of come in armed with a little bit of a list off the cuff and everything. What did you try in 2018 and what'd you like?
Sure. I mean, I'll start at the top. My favorite opening by far was Keisling. And I think we've mentioned it on the show before when I've come in, but it's in the Milwaukee Junction area. It's a little bit off the beaten path, but it's an amazing spot. Great cocktails, friendly bartenders, and a friendly service. They have a seasonal menu of cocktails. It's fantastic. It's
Strictly a bar, right?
It's strictly a bar. They've done some pop-ups there. So I think they've done like a dumpling pop-up. They've done, I think, maybe nachos or chips and salsa. But they do some different pop-ups there that are really good. But traditionally, it is just a bar. But it's one of those places you can actually, kind of tell the bartender what you're looking for and they'll make you a drink.
They did an amazing job the last time I was there. It was amazing. And here's the deal. What I like about it is it's actually like a corner bar with class. Like it's approachable. Don't get me wrong. It's approachable like a corner bar, but the bartenders are excellent. I ran into somebody I knew who actually used to bartend back at the Sugar House back in the day. And what I like about it is you walk in, the door's in the corner, and it's familiar and it's warm, and there's all kinds of options, and they're super knowledgeable. Randy, who engineers the show sometimes, joined me for a cocktail there last week, and this was an excellent experience. Everything on the menu was perfect. And then if you, and Randy, and people don't know this because he's in on the show very often, but he's kind of persnickety about his drinks, especially his rum. And they went back and forth with him and like figured it all out. It was actually really, really well done.
And I love that neighborhood too. It's such a cool, it's industrial over there, but it's got such a cool kind of close-knit feel. And it's great to see some businesses opening up there again. I
think, looking ahead to 2019, we'll probably see some more openings in that area, Milwaukee Junction.
Yeah. All right. Devon, number 2 on your list. I'm not necessarily going in order necessarily, right? But just kind of going through the sequential order here. Empire. Now, this was a place that earned some maybe.
Yeah. I think we talked about this. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention Empire because I think it was a really good opening this year, and as I've said before, it serves a great purpose. I've been there probably 3 times in the last 10 days. I live nearby, friends, family who actually live nearby. And it's a great bar for that Midtown area, for that kind of South Midtown area. It's a great bar to go to just grab dinner. Not every new restaurant or bar needs to be groundbreaking or have some kind of concept that just blows everybody away. Sometimes you just want a place that you can go and grab dinner or happy hour, or that's open late to grab a drink at midnight. And Empire hits that, and the food is good. And they don't have something that they can hang their hat on specifically, but they do everything well. And it's a great kind of. We went to a show last night at the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, and it was a perfect place to go grab dinner before a show.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should mention that it earned a fairly scathing review from the Free Press back in the spring or summer or whatever that was.
Yeah, it did. And that one, it seemed at the time to be kind of a little over the top. A little exaggerated. It sounded like the author was maybe taking his frustrations of all the new Detroit restaurants out on a single restaurant.
Yeah, he seemed to say it was sort of same, right. Kind of almost following the template of new restaurants.
Yeah, but you know what? As I said, humbly disagree, and I think that the crowds that are there almost nightly would also disagree too. Yeah. So I think they're doing just fine.
This next one on your list, Lost River, I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't love a tiki bar?
Well, and a tiki bar that does it right. So this was the first place in Detroit, no knock, well, yes, slight knock to other places, that gave me a Mai Tai that was right, just like I had in Hawaii. So many other places do like riffs on Mai Tais. These guys nailed it.
Yeah, and tiki bars were a staple of Detroit back in the day. When you had, Chin Tiki and some of the other places, Detroit had a fair share of tiki bars. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, I know it fell out of style in previous years, but I feel like that trend's coming a little bit back. And so now we've got a couple tiki bars. And I agree with you, Jared. I love what Lost River's doing. I love that they have the big screen that they can play different movies and kind of cool visuals on. They have a smoke machine in there, which just adds something simple. Sounds kitschy, but it adds like an element of cool to it.
But isn't a tiki bar all about the kitsch? I mean, Absolutely. I was watching one of the old Batman movies like back in the day with like the rubber shark that tried to bite him off the helicopter. Like it was super cheesy, but I think that's the whole vibe of a tiki bar, right?
Yeah, I think that's what you want to hit. And maybe that's what it takes to kind of open a good tiki bar, is to understand in most bars, this seems kitschy and kind of not the right place for it. But kitschy drinks, kind of tacky decorations, that's what makes a good tiki bar.
Do they serve flaming drinks at all? Maybe not for the liability.
I didn't order anything with flames, but I feel like you could probably get a flaming drink there.
All right, so moving on in your list, Devon, second best we talked about last time you came on the show a few months ago, so we'll kind of go past that one. Bakersfield, another Woodward Avenue establishment. This one kind of like high-end tacos, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say high-end because it's a very affordable place, but it does it kind of in a, I guess you would say, kind of a Tex-Mex vibe. You know, they've always got Westerns playing on the screen. They're kind of a casual type of place to get tacos, tequila, margaritas. They do margaritas in pitchers that are fantastic. They have an incredible tequila selection. They've got a really, really good whiskey selection, which kind of throws people off a little bit, but great whiskey selection, great tequila selection. One thing I should shout out is they do a $3 pour each day. So they've got a sign up there, and they rotate off whiskey and tequila on any given night. We can get a $3 pour of something really good.
The service is great there, and it's a great date bar. I went there during the summer. I enjoyed it. Every single one of my roommates loves it. Like, it is a place. It even made our taco list. I think it was the only place that was somewhat of a chain to make our top 10 taco list. Oh, I don't know. Urban ramen. So ramen's a thing in Detroit nowadays between Ema and a bunch of other places. So why urban ramen on this list?
You know, if urban ramen kind of filled a void that personally I actually didn't know existed. But we've had some noodle shops open up in the last couple of years between Johnny Noodle King and Ema and Pho Lucky. And urban ramen started in Los Angeles, I believe, or somewhere in Southern California, but I think Los Angeles. And so it was a big deal when they came here. Now, I'm not a huge ramen fan, but if you gauged just longest lines out the door, urban ramen would be the most popular destination of 2018, I think, because anytime you drive past there on Woodward, there is a line out the door, and it continues to this day where it's 20, 30 degrees outside. There's always a line out there. People love to just get their ramen from that place. Their broth is really, really good. I have had it a few times, even not being a ramen fan. The broth is excellent. The noodles are made in-house and are amazing. Their pork is awesome. So they do everything really well. Again, not being a fan of ramen, I can see why people would seek out this place.
Okay, keeping the momentum going. Sfumato, which was guests of ours back on the Happy Hour podcast, I think back in 2017. Yeah,
and they're great. And on a personal note, they're great people. Kevin and Jane, they have made this thing go from basically nothing, which is so impressive, to go from basically online sense to now a cocktail bar.
Yeah, fragrance makers.
Right, because Castalia and Sfumato, that's the kind of like the pairing.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to make a special mention of Sfumato because there weren't necessarily a shortage of places to mention in new openings, but I wanted to not go with just all the places that everybody was going to think of. I know that there's other kind of bigger names that opened, so I'm sure people listening may say, oh, you didn't mention this place. But I wanted to mention Sfumato because I feel like some people haven't gone to it and they need to. It's, like you said, a fragrance shop by day, cocktail bar by night, super friendly staff. It's small, it's cozy. It's basically on the subterranean level of an old house.
Perfect for winter.
Perfect for winter, but then also when it's summer and it gets warmer, they've got that patio right on ground level, street level. So you have the outdoor element too. So they're fantastic. The cocktails are based off scent profiles. They'll make you whatever you want, even if it's off the menu. So that's one of those, again, date spots, maybe after dinner at Selden Standard type of spots.
And the location is clutch. You're right there by Selden Standard, Honest John's, Castalia, Sfumato. You could make a night out of that little triangle.
And She-Wolf too. We'll throw that in there. That wasn't a list.
Yeah, She-Wolf. That's true.
You got She-Wolf there now.
Yeah. All right. So Bisa, another one we've talked about before on this show. You've got the Detroit Shipping Company.
Yeah.
Which opened this past year. That place really seems to have taken off. I mean, at night, I think it's always busy. There's always a crowd there. Even in the middle of the day, there are people eating there. 3 restaurants there. What do you like among the restaurants?
Well, I like them all. Obviously, we here are familiar with the shipping container space.
That's our usual home, away from home to record over there at the Podcast Detroit Studios.
So we all know it well. But I think that it's got to be the Bangkok 96. I'm from Dearborn, so I actually grew up eating a lot of Bangkok 96 over on Ford Road, the original restaurant. No Genevieve, the owner there. And there's a lot of different dishes. I mean, there's some really good stuff on that menu, but that pad thai wrap or burrito,
roll,
as it were,
that pad thai roll.
I think they call it pad thai roll. It's a burrito.
It's a burrito. Whatever it is, it's amazing. And you see, like, it seems like they sell thousands of them. They just go out there. The other thing, and it's amazing, and it's really filling too. It's a great value in that space. The other thing that I had that was amazing the other night was candied beef.
I haven't tried the candied beef
It's really
yet. How
good.
is that?
Really good. It's got that little bit of sweetness. It's not overdone. It's just the perfect bite size. But I'm also a fan of like steak bites and things like that. It's that perfect, like you want some meat, but you don't want to overdo, like with bread or other carbs or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic spot. And it's one of those, what I like about it, it works in any season. I was a little skeptical how it was going to handle the cold weather because it was so nice in the warmer months to have that out there. Cold weather, it's handled it very well. They had the Lions games up, so you can go there and watch Lions games. It's dog friendly, which is great. I know a lot of people are looking for places that allow pets and dogs, so you can take your dog there. So it's a great addition.
Speaking of steak, one steakhouse made your list, but for kind of
it was a big
not
opening.
your favorites.
So, I think when we talk about we want to cover all the big things that opened, and Prime and Proper was a big opening, and I think it's certainly a nice addition. It's better than not having anything at the corner of Capitol Park there for sure.
Tell us how you really feel.
It's pretty.
Man. Don't hold back.
No. There's nothing inherently wrong with it at all.
Okay.
However, it just it doesn't seem like the type of place, as someone who lives in Capitol Park, that I'd go very often for having a restaurant.
Why not?
100 feet away from me. Well, obviously, a price point. You want to. It's more than a special occasion type of place. When
Really?
you're
So what are we talking
points,
about here?
Well, I mean, I don't want to start kind of making people count their change or look at their wallets or whatever or bank accounts, but it's at a higher price point than, let's say,
fair warning though. People need to know what things
let's
cost.
say, if you've been to a London Chop House, you've been to a Townhouse, a Whitney's, what are some of the fine dining restaurants that people are kind of familiar with now? Go up a level.
Wait, so it's top tier plus.
Top tier plus, I would say.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, again, if you're a steak person, if you're really a steak person, and you need to go, if you need to go
But
look
London
at your
Chop
steak,
is so good. Like I like London. I mean,
it is, and I think maybe the caveat is that if you really got a real carnivore on here, or someone who was so particular about their meat that you wanted to go in a display case, much like you do jewelry.
Yeah,
if you wanted to go look at your
beef
meat
and
in the
everything,
display case and decide what particular cut you wanted and how you wanted it cut, then I suppose this would be a place for you. But I imagine that 99.9% of the population, that isn't worth the additional price point. And that's my biggest beef with them. No pun intended.
That's a huge piece of real estate they got there too, man. I mean, it'll be interesting, like for that higher price point and everything, keeping that place humming.
Yeah, it seems to do well. It seems to do well. So I'm sure wish no ill will on them. I'm sure they're doing fine. It's just not the type of place I'm going to be having my regular Wednesday night dinners at.
Yeah, sure. One other interesting one to note. I haven't eaten here yet. Just opened like a couple weeks ago. I did have a drink there though. Is Antihero up in Ferndale, from the same owners as Public House and Imperial, the taco place. This place was like I think a couple years in the making. It's been they've had it behind butcher paper in the windows and everything. You couldn't see what was going on there, but they clearly spent a lot of money fixing the place up. It looks really nice. I mean, I think there are a few issues in there. I mean, when I kind of looked more closely, it was some of the space was used a little, like it was a little weird, I thought. And the fluorescent light glare from the kitchen, which is otherwise hidden, but it does kind of show in the back room, and it's a little distracting. But I'm eager to taste that place, though.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been out. It takes me a little longer to get out to Ferndale places, but it does look awesome. I mean, Public House is my favorite place in Ferndale, so if
Totally.
same people behind that, then I'm sure it'll be good.
Yep. A couple closings in 2018.
Yeah, we got to talk
mention.
about those that are no longer with us.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
One that you just Learned about, sounds like it's brand new breaking news, Broderick Grill.
Broderick Grill appears to be closed. Don't want to break any news, but it looks like there is now butcher paper on the windows. Walking past, I noticed it the other day. I had been in there a few times. It was a restaurant.
It provided things that were somewhat like food.
It was open.
We can say it was a restaurant. It was open.
I have
wouldn't
paid
go
them
further
money,
than that.
not gladly.
I'm not entirely surprised. I feel like that's a prime piece of real estate, and so I think the type of place that goes in there should probably offer something a little bit unique.
Like, to me, when I ate there, I felt like it was. Do you remember? I don't know if you guys remember. Maybe you, Sven. But like when downtown Detroit had like a cadre of like middling restaurants that weren't very good, but they just served people who came through for ball games or Greektown or whatever, and they were just meh.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what, to me, the Broderick was. And it was really sad for me because I have a lot of fond memories of the space. My mom's favorite restaurant was the legendary Flaming Embers that was at that spot. And it was at that spot for decades. That was my mom's favorite place. I remember being there as a kid. And I know that it wasn't the top end food, but it was the space that my mom loved.
Yeah, sure.
And I only recently have been able to recreate that burger with a lot of garlic and char. But that, to me, I have so much affection for that old name and that space and that corner area. And when I went to the Broderick, and I was so disappointed that we like literally didn't eat and like paid the bill and walked, I was like, this, you got to do better. Like, it was just shoddy as far as its execution to me.
Yeah, it's like the Lycon for me of the places that I associate, I have such great memories of eating at when I was young and everything that are no longer here.
Yeah.
Back in Greektown. Another one, Fist of Curry. I think we talked about this on a previous podcast, but kind of a short-lived rebrand.
We liked what it used to be.
We liked the Huron Room. Yeah,
the Huron Room was much. The Huron Room was much better.
That was seriously like my sleeper restaurant in Detroit, the Huron Room, and I was so bummed when they closed that. And apparently, Fist of Curry just didn't take off at all.
Well, I'll tell you. So, was there a couple times? Was there with a couple people who really like curry, who know how to make curries,
or come from curry, yeah,
or come from countries that eat curry?
Yeah.
Off the mark.
Yeah.
It was just off the mark. And I'm sorry. And I know that the folks that do a lot of stuff with it. I know that Johnny Noodle King is really popular. I know that Green Dot Stables is beloved. You can't bat 1,000. And that was one that was just in bat 1,000.
Right. Another one up in the New Center, Maccabees. I ate there once several years ago. I think that place seemed to always kind of struggle for business.
Trying to figure out what it was, I think.
And it's in a weird location because it's like in the middle of like a student. It's like in a weird mix of locations where you've got incomes improving around it, but you're also kind of locked off in that you don't necessarily have your own garage and a bunch of things. And so you basically have to be some sort of destination.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be something that people have to think about to go.
Yeah.
I never thought that they found their footing as a place. I used to live around the corner and try it every once in a while and was never impressed.
I had a pretty good meal there once.
Yeah. Once I did. And then like it was just for what I don't mind spending money. What I feel weird about is when I spend money and I'm just like, this just doesn't feel worth it. I will say this. Shields is moving into that
I was going to say,
space.
there's a happy ending to this story.
And I think Shields has the brand recognition and the name. People will go to Shields no matter where it's located. And so I think that's going to be something that is going to appeal to a lot of people.
I think Maccabees, to your point, struggling to find their footing and define who they were and everything. I think also the queue line construction helped kind of strangle it off. Like, I could tell when the street in front of it was blocked for construction and everything, it just seemed like they were just dying, Okay, so it's the end of the year. Those are all the things that happened in 2018, but we've got a bunch of stuff already to look forward to in 2019.
Yeah, let's look forward to a few things
Absolutely.
in the new year.
What are you looking forward to, Devon?
So we've got a few things right off the bat. I think that this one toes the line, I guess you could say, because they've had some openings, but technically I think most of the public won't be getting there until after the first of the year in 2019 is San Morello, which is Shinola Hotel's first offering, some upscale Italian food. Again,
Have you been to any of those openings, by the way?
I have not been to San Morello yet.
Okay.
But I'm going to wander my way over there like I do with anything else and try and find a more calm time to go there.
Sure. Yeah. Always smart, I think, to wait a little bit till the hype dies down. And then, I mean, and you also want to let restaurants work out the kinks too.
Sure. Yeah, there's something to be said for that as well. So that one will be big to start off the year. And I think Shinola will have some interesting concepts soon to follow, from what I've heard. Cork and Gable in Corktown. Again, I think that's basically in the 2 James building, right at the corner of the 2 James building on Michigan Avenue there in Corktown. They've been working on that for a while. It looked awesome, and so that's opening up again. I think like this week. And so
unusual mix:
Italian,
of
Irish, German. All things that are good.
The Irish, quite frankly, throws me a little bit. I mean, I'm sure there is good Irish food, but I associate it with
you are talking to a man with the last name of O'Reilly.
Have you had a good shepherd's pie?
No.
Wow. You are missing out. How about some corned beef and cabbage?
Awesome, man.
All right.
Shepherd's pie, corned beef and cabbage.
But done well. That's the thing. A lot of people don't do it well.
Right. It's got to be done well. So
maybe I lump it in with British cuisine, which is just
the
kind
Brits.
of miserable.
Their cuisine is miserable.
Yeah.
Not biased at all.
Right. All right. Next one. I share your excitement. Mercado.
Yeah. So that one, the full name I think is something different, but it's Mercado. It's next to La Feria. So the owner,
La Feria.
Exactly. So Catavino Mercado is the full name of this place. It's right next to La Feria. It's the same owners. They're opening up kind of a wine bar with kind of snacks and things like that, but a full expanded wine list. Sherry, which is really interesting.
I love sherry.
And definitely something different. I'm sure it'll be a hit with that kind of midtown neighborhood, so they'll do well. Looking forward to that. One of the pizza place, the new pizza place, Moots, just going in over there by, let's see, what else we buy? Bolt of Midnight, if people are familiar with that area right
Library
there.
Street there.
Library Street,
kind of bookended
exactly.
by Queens. And at the end of that street is the brand new Metropolitan Hotel, the Element Metropolitan Hotel that's going to have a rooftop bar too.
Yes.
Speaking of 2019, rooftop bar.
That's going to be sweet.
Can end on the crescendo there. I know you guys covered it in a recent podcast with my buddy David Dorita.
That's right. He talked all about the rooftop and got me and Jared both super excited about it.
It's very exciting. And what's interesting is apparently back in the day, that rooftop bar used to be ladies only.
Well, let's hope they let us guys in this time.
He said they will be. He said they will be.
It sounds, where else do we have a rooftop bar in Detroit right now?
We don't really have too many. The only rooftops situations I can remember are private parties at the top of the Madison building, which is owned by
Can't count that. That's a private event space.
And then the other thing I don't think you can count is that club at the top of the Opera House.
No, it's a limited hours.
Not the Opera House, music hall.
Yeah, limited hours. It's a club. I can't go there and get a drink at 5 on a
same thing.
Wednesday.
It's a private club.
DAC private club. So, a public bar that you can go to and have a drink on a rooftop literally does not exist downtown.
Yeah,
so that'll be an incredibly welcome addition, and it'll be great to see when it opens.
You know what? Speaking of bars in the air, you know what I would have loved to see is that piece of art that they installed between 1000 or the One Woodward and the Guardian building, that sky bridge that kind of looks like with the LEDs that go across with the colors. I wish they had turned that into a bar. How awesome would that have been to be up there with the colors and create a bar in that causeway or something?
That would have been very cool, and I think you saw that it could be done when Brome put in the balanced juice bar in that sky bridge over down on Congress.
Yeah, it's a great use of a sky bridge because people
people
don't sky bridge anymore. So
more sky bridges, the better, right?
Exactly, all for the sky bridges.
And I also have to mention Collect, which is the upstairs of Gather. So Gather was a recent opening. They're awesome, but
let's triangulate people. So where and where? Where is
we're on Gratiot.
Okay,
we're on Gratiot, just across from Eastern Market.
Okay,
and it's above a Gather space, a little bit hidden, but it's the second floor of Gather. There's a beer bar there now. They've got free popcorn. They've got all sorts of different beers. I think they do a really good job of having a beer list that is very different. It's not the stuff that you're necessarily getting at other bars on tap. So it's really cool to have something really unique as far as your beer experience. And quick shout out, their glassware game is on point, which I'm a big fan of.
That's right. All right, man. Devon, I wish I could be you, man. I wish I could be half as hip as you. You doing anything fun for the holidays at all?
I'm staying around here and going to all these new bars and restaurants.
Sounds good, man. Well, thanks for coming in and telling us all about your favorite places in 2018 and where to go have a good bite to eat and a good drink.
Absolutely. And the best thing about Detroit is there'll be some new ones to talk about soon.
Absolutely. We'll have you back to talk about it. Thanks, Devon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, friends, wanted to give a quick housekeeping note. I'm sure you probably figured this out, but we wanted to be sure to tell you we're going to have no new shows Monday and Tuesday of next week, thanks to Christmas. Of course, thanks to the whole team. End of the week, thanks to Cheyenne Nosarini, Nuri Gojai, our spirits advisor, Randy Walker, who does the Twitters for everyone, Bob and Dave, who are the resident sailors at the Salty Dog. Thank you for all that you do for us and the folks at Podcast Detroit. Appreciate your support. And of course, thank you, listeners. Without you, this couldn't exist. For all the team, for Devon O'Reilly, who kindly joined us today here at the WeWork Studios, for Sven Gustafson, I'm Jer Stays. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.